Alright, guys, so we have entered the next stage of the MCU, the second movie of Phase 2, and that is Thor the Dark World. This was directed by Alan Taylor, who directed episodes of like Game of Thrones, and when I watched this movie, I thought it was the absolute bottom of the barrel when it comes to the MCU. Now, I'll say this. This is still, for me, this is still a bad movie. However, this movie is not as bad as I made it out to be. If that makes sense. Hear me out for a minute. It's a bad movie. Don't get me wrong. There's some really bad sequences. I think the villain is absolutely terrible. But there are a lot of sequences that are absolutely pivotal to everything that happens later on in the MCU. If you have seen the MCU, you kind of know exactly where the story goes. If you've seen the Infinity Saga, you know where it goes. So you know how pivotal this movie is to that saga. And knowing that, I kind of went into this movie kind of expecting to really hate it and just really ripping it to shreds. I didn't rip it to shreds this time. I still think that there's some really bad choices made. Odin in this movie, I've never seen a character in a movie that has frustrated me with all the dumb decisions that they make throughout the entire movie. Because I'm like, dude, you literally know all this stuff about this thing that is affecting this person. And you're just like, it's not our problem. It's not our problem. It could kill her, but it's not our problem. What? This is a thing that the Dark Elves want, that they're gonna come to your home world and kill your people for. It's not our problem. Nah. Let alone the fact that they killed your wife to get it. It's like, that's still not our problem. So yeah, Odin is stupid. Odin makes some really stupid decisions in the film. I really like everything. I think with Thor and Loki works extremely well. I love Loki's death in the film, or fake death, as this is the MCU fake death universe where nobody ever really dies in this universe. Everyone dies, but then they come back. That's the tradition of the MCU. They die, but they come back. There's no real there's no real stake. This universe runs the exact same way as the Dragon Ball universe, where there's no real stakes here. There's no real stakes in the Marvel universe. Characters can die, but they can easily come back. Especially now that they have the multiverse. Now that they have the multiverse, any character can just come back now. And that's the same with Dragon Ball. The Dragon Balls exist now. Any characters can come back now at any time. So, but I will, and also let me touch on Malekith for a minute. Malekith is I think he's the second worst villain of the MCU. We'll get into the worst villain of the MCU, much later when we talk about Black Widow. But I do think, this movie, Malekith is one of the worst villains of the MCU. His motivation, there's the lack of motivation. He has no charisma. The fact that he mostly speaks in an Elvish tongue throughout the entire movie, is very, disappointing. Is just like, how are you going to get me to care about a character when you're mostly going to have him speak in an Elvish tongue throughout the entire movie? It's just, and the third act of this movie, I think, is a mess. I'm not gonna lie. During the third act of this movie, I found myself just kind of going on my phone and just kind of scrolling through social media during the majority of the third act, because I just was like, and there was a good part of this movie after Loki died. After Loki died in the film, there was a part of me that just was like, okay, I'm gonna take a bathroom break, and I didn't even pause the movie. I was like, I'm gonna go take a bathroom break. Just, you know, I just went to the bathroom, man. I'm not gonna even pause the movie at this point, because because the movie loses you at a point. You know, once Loki dies, that's where the movie kind of loses me at a point. You know. Cause I think that's where the movie I feel like that's where the movie needed to end, and that's where the movie I feel like should have ended. But it didn't want to. It wanted to keep going. And I felt like it was unnecessary. You know, there's just a lot of things that happened afterwards that just felt unnecessary. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Thor: The Dark World. Again, not as bad as I remember it being, but it's still a bad movie nonetheless. I will say this: I do prefer watching this movie over Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and I might actually prefer watching this movie over the Marvels. Maybe I might prefer watching this movie over the Marvels. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. I have to rewatch the Marvels again, but I think I might prefer watching this movie over the Marvels, to be honest with you. But yeah, that will do it for my thoughts, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Join me tomorrow, where I will talk about one of the best movies of the MCU, Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Captain America's my boy, so I can't wait to talk about that movie. But thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.